Hold on. Stop the music. Stop the music, boys. I think we figured it out. I think
got it to work. Yeah,
so. Okay, so listen. Let me explain. So last podcast, it said in members only mode, and we couldn't click it off. And then today it said there was no members only mode, or it was clicked off, but it was still activated. So I went in, I activated, deactivated. We're free. Everyone rejoice in the chat. I'm so sorry. We don't know why it bugged. It was a weird thing. We just couldn't turn it off the last time, and now we've got it. I'm Mtashed. We've got KackisHD here and True Vanguard. We are the RGH podcast. Every Wednesday night at 9 p.m., we do a little podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern time, where we talk about all things gaming. And by popular request, we figured out how to get rid of our intro. So if you guys are listening to this, you won't have to listen to 4 minutes of random dubstep beats before.
That's right. There you go.
Right?
Hey, and before we get cranking, we should probably say congratulations to our co-host KackisHD this week. Hit 1 million subscribers on his YouTube channel, which is pretty freaking cool. That's pretty freaking. So congratulations to him.
Incredible. And you know, it's crazy because, I mean, with your quality videos, I just never expected it. So to see it happen,
that proof that anyone can make it happen.
Anyone can do it.
I was literally talking to True Vanguard. That's like, I hit it and I'm just like, I don't even feel any different. If anything, I feel worse because I'm like, here, like, I was saying it was funny. Like, Glad posted a reply. He's like, yep. Don't forget, I soloed like a raid boss faster than one of your intros. And I'm like, I know he's joking.
Here come the hits.
Here come out of these kids out of the woodworks with their failed Twitch channels being like, oh, yeah. Some guy put up a comparison and it was like the beginning of the raid guide to Last Wish. And then Glad is like halfway through the encounter, by the way. But Glad was killing the Crota boss.
Right.
Crota. And my intro was over in like 20 seconds, just kept going. I'm like talking about, I'm like, by the way, everything's timestamped if you want to skip ahead. I'm like, this guy literally just, it's like anything he wants is just an intro. I'm basically like talking about the first encounter. He's like, that's just your intro. That's just the beginning of the video. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you'll never win. You can have 1 million subs and people are still going to hate you. So you might as well sell out. You know,
I know.
That's what I figured.
I know. You didn't even have to get to 1 million subs to get to that point to realize that.
I got a quarter of that, man. I sell out every month. The raid channel,
right?
Yeah.
No,
once a month, baby.
But once you get that golden plaque, though, like that golden plaque is nice. You're gonna put that up on the wall. I know you'll be getting laid. I'll be coming over if you know what I mean. Wait, what?
Hold on. Wait a second.
We will talk about gaming news on this show too. Just
at some point.
Chat now.
Anthem question mark? Should we just get popping?
Oh my gosh.
Let's dive right into that. Yeah.
Right. So I guess 2 weeks ago, they said, hey, we're having a call about the future of Anthem. They're going to be deciding what happens with Anthem, or Anthem Next is what they were kind of calling it. Now, we've seen a couple of dev notes showing some of the changes that they were making. A month and a half ago, I was actually asked to play, but I wasn't able to make it. So I might have been able to play Anthem. I might have been able to see the final thing, the final piece, but I just couldn't make the play session. And now I'll never know. I could have saved the goddamn game. I know.
You could have driven up the hype.
And so now I'll never know what there truly was. But they did the meeting, and we didn't hear anything all week. There was there was a power outage and everything, like a crazy storm. And their one studio is for EA is like in Texas, right? And so Dallas, or around Dallas, isn't it?
Maybe? Yeah, BioWare has a place in Dallas, but they also have a place in Edmonton.
Yeah, but I think it was the Dallas
which one
team,
was
maybe
working on what.
Oh, maybe yeah. But they didn't get the call out, or they didn't get the information from the call out until today, like this morning. And Anthem is canceled. They are not continuing with that game. It is over. It is donezo. And I'm crying. I'm crying a little bit.
It really is too bad, you know. I hope my hope is same thing as with Cyberpunk and their whole disaster. I just hope that other developers, publishers out there are going to learn from this and say, oh man, we cannot keep rushing stuff out the door. Like we've just got to quality control. We've got to ship a good product because
That right
After-
there is the thing that annoyed. I got. By the way, I just started recording now for our editor.
Okay.
I forgot. But that right there is such a good point. Like, dude, EA forced them to put it out before it's ready, and then it suffers, and then EA is like, "No, we're just gonna kill it. We're gonna pull the plug." It's like, And I tweeted out like a joke. I was like, "Dude, literally 1% of FIFA's loot box revenue could go to completely resurrect this franchise." But whoever the CEO, was it like Andrew something of EA? He's like installing another gold-plated pool, so we can't possibly have that. I just like, for me, it's very unfortunate because I genuinely had a lot of fun in Anthem. It just like didn't have an end game. The people in like the Anthem subreddit are very upset, and rightfully so, because they were told by BioWare and EA that
hang in there.
hang in there, fixes are coming, and then EA's like, you know what, we're just gonna pull the plug. And it couldn't possibly have been costing like that many resources. It was just a little team over working on like some changes. And, you know, it's just bizarre because frankly, I feel like you would have gotten nothing but goodwill in like, hey, free update. We're trying to fix the game. Let's give it one last go. But it's just very unfortunate. And again, the worst part is that a huge reason in its failure is that it was forced out by EA too early.
Dude, it's literally the meme where it's like the guy shooting and he's like, how could Anthem
you have done
fail?
this?
Like how could this game fail?
The bicycle spokes.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like launches the game
Yeah.
early, launches the freaking game, and then this is what happens. And you know, there's a lot of talented people on there, and we saw it's kind of like with Destiny. It's like that potential. You could see what it could be, and like the flight mechanics, amazing. If they could get some of the RPG elements working, awesome. But we're never going to see it.
Destiny 1 did not launch well. Like people forget, it was panned, and it was also really hated, rightfully so, for a lot of cut content. A lot of the stuff they showed the Dreadnought in the freaking reveal trailer for Destiny, right? They were planning so much more than what actually came out. So, like, imagine if Bungie and Activision had like pulled the plug. They had enough goodwill, and I think just barely enough success that they were able to keep going. But part of that success was because like there was no alternatives. It was like that was really the only looter shooter on the market that was like new. So like if Anthem didn't have Destiny, I feel like it would have basically done as well as Destiny at launch. Like they could have easily pulled the plug on Destiny before it got good and really got going in it, and it is what it is today, right? So that's the unfortunate part, that you just see all these people being like, so what? Like, I didn't like it. It's like, oh, all right, dude, go play Madden for the 20th time. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, even Destiny 2 launch though, like, was pretty poorly received.
Rough,
but still
but
better.
popped off sales wise, I guess.
I mean, if you look at the raid and you look at the activities, like there's a lot more polish there, and like a little like if you look at the story of Destiny 2 compared to Anthem's, like it's night and
more
day.
Customization of builds though than Destiny 2 OG.
No, for sure. Like Destiny 2 OG was kind of it was very bland. It was casualized, but it still was like a polished game in the movements.
Felt
and
really
yada
good.
yada, right?
It wasn't as glitchy. You wouldn't glitch under the map during a cutscene, which
but
was
like
good.
you know, here's the thing though, is like now there's one less competitor for Destiny. Destiny has an even easier time now coasting around and being like, all right, we're the big dogs. And
tomorrow,
who's going to compete?
Outriders demo tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of cool. And again, we've been hyping on about Outriders just because the way that they're doing the demo, free to play, your progress carries, there's cross play. You got 6 character slots, so you can try all 4 of the different characters and then some. So they're being very open and honest about this game. And it's like, hey, if you don't like Outriders, you've lost nothing other than a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just like, how could you not, support that style of transparency?
Absolutely, that transparency. Even today, they made a play that was very, very clearly, not even veiled in any way, very clearly a nod to Cyberpunk. And they said, listen, we want to be very transparent with you guys about what our game looks like, because we have all of our promotional stuff is rendered on high-end PC, so it looks pretty good. But we want you to know this is what it looks like, and they show footage. This is what it looks like on a low budget PC, and they showed some gameplay on it. Here's what it looks like on a console. Like, they were very transparent. They
Right.
said we don't want anyone to be surprised when they fire a game up. And
we're
it
not
doesn't-
pulling a Cyberpunk here, baby. Well, and
Yeah.
especially, and again, the demo factor, you can literally just put it on your PS4, and if it's like, oh, this runs like crap, you've lost nothing, right?
Yeah.
So
Uninstall it, you move on.
yeah, it's just such a fantastic thing they're doing.
I feel like the thing is with some of that stuff, even if not everyone sees it before they play the game, they always have that to like point back to, be like, we showed you.
Yeah.
So like, if you're not going to research the game before you buy it, like, we put all the cards on the table. We showed our hand, and I just hope it's good. I just please be good.
I need one game to deliver for me.
Honestly, I'm so sick of it, bro. I'm sick of getting interest in a game, and like, that's the thing, is like, I'm trying to not even like hype myself too much, because I don't want to be let down. And it's such a shame. I want to be hyped for every game that comes out, but it's like, I don't know, maybe it'll be good. I don't know. I have no idea.
It seems like all the games that are severely over delivering these days are black horses that just came out of nowhere. Like, your Valheim, which we'll talk about later, which is a 5-man studio, and they're blowing up. You know what I mean? But then all the big budget things that they get mega marketed and hyped up lately have just under delivered.
Yeah, but I think another big thing is the price. Like, how much does Valheim like cost?
You mean like to buy or to develop? What do you mean?
To buy like $30 or something?
I thought wasn't it on sale for 20? I don't know. I didn't pick it up.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's so easy to convince. Among Us, same thing. It's like, dude, it costs $5, right? It's like all of these smaller games pop off because they're you can play with your friends, and it's so easy to convince your friends to get it because it's cheap. That's all these AAA games still want. They still want that $60, and then they're going to shove DLC and microtransactions down your throat too often, right? And so I think people are steering away from that because you can have so much fun with these less expensive games, right? They're so easily shareable, and if you have a service like Xbox Game Pass or what have you, then you're getting that value as well. Like, I just don't, man. Like, I think that's a big factor of these AAA games. Like, they might need to back off. Because imagine if the next Call of Duty was $20, right? They're going to make that revenue up with microtransactions. That's like the bulk of their revenue is microtransactions. They're making like more money on Warzone than ever before because it's free to play. Like that, if you lower that barrier to entry, so many more people get into your games.
Do you know what I find so fascinating is, like, in any business, retaining your employees is super valuable, because like training new ones is really expensive, but also retaining customers, because that like, time value of that customer is so good. It's very interesting that games like Call of Duty are just continually turning over and making you buy a new game instead of selling you a good game you love and some cracked skins. Because I know for me, when I'm playing a game, if I know that the game is just gonna like implode in a year, I'm not buying the skins, because I'm not going to use the skins in a year. I'm not even going to play the game. It's such a weird thing. They're putting all this effort into the skins and making these new games, but it's like, well, I don't want to buy them because I think you're going to just take them from me in a year, right?
They've got a way around that, and that is Warzone, right? Because like, then you're playing Warzone for free. The new Call of Duty comes out, and they're introducing skins and stuff based on that new Call of Duty. You have to buy that Call of Duty to get, like, it was like an integration of all of Cold War's guns into Warzone and stuff.
Right.
You don't have to buy it. So I think they kind of realize what you're saying. And they have this long-term investment, which is Warzone, that seemingly isn't going away and is doing fantastic. And then buying the new Call of Duty is almost like buying a DLC for Warzone if you want. You get the guns and stuff associated with it.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Like that, I think that is a big factor, is that your Warzone progress, like all of the guns and attachments and stuff you got from the previous Modern Warfare game, they're still there.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But so it's like a very interesting take on it, but exactly what you're saying. I think they realize, like, every time we like roll over into a new game, if the last one was good, we don't have that same hype. Like they almost are more successful when the last one was bad. Warzone popped off because Black Ops 4 was not received well.
Right. And people are like looking for that new thing or that
exactly.
Update. Yeah. Shifting gears now from AAA games that might tilt us for not being good, they are remaking and remastering, or I shouldn't say remaking, remastering. Diablo 2. That is a guaranteed banger in many people's eyes. I mean, I'm super excited for it because I know Diablo 2. I know the hours I put in Diablo 2 back in the day. It looks amazing. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
I've never played Diablo 2. I hate to say it.
Really? Okay,
dude.
you're in for a treat, man. You're in for a treat, in my opinion.
Did you
I'm
play
excited.
3?
I played the crap out of 3. I've played a lot of 3 actually, kind of on my own time, and I'm kind of excited for it, but also it's something an interesting take I saw was like people saying, "Well, everyone's hyped. Literally, everyone wanted Diablo. Not literally, but everyone wanted Diablo 2 remake, right?" But people were saying, "When's the last time they hit us with a remake?" It was Warcraft 3.
Yeah, which is bad.
Which was received terribly.
Yeah.
That went down the crapper, dude. So that was...
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. There's not a lot of team overlap there, though, right?
No, but it's... The interesting part was that people were saying it's because of Activision. They're like, Activision merged with Blizzard, and apparently it's impacting Blizzard in not a good way. A lot of the Blizzard... Like, a huge amount of the Blizzard people have left.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Right? And they're off. They're like doing their own studios and stuff. Right? So
I feel like it I mean, if they're just doing frame rate improvements and like overall graphical updates, then I think it's gonna be fine. I wonder if the game will is it a little dated? Like they don't have greater riffs and they don't have like the end game. And
some games don't age well,
Yeah. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be charming. I'll probably play through it a couple times. Get my Blizzard sorcerer going, or sorceress. But I just don't know, like, does it have that long-term grind potential? I think one thing that is definitely interesting and like people do enjoy is the trading and the PvP. People loved trading in that game and trading for all the different like Tal ruins and all the different ruins and everything and making like the Enigma chest. Like there is some really cool grind there for the gear. But I don't know. It depends on the releases, honestly. If there's no other games, everyone's going to jump in. But like
drop this in like the summer or end of spring where there's nothing, and then it'll just pop off. Nostalgia alone, it'll pop off.
The thing is like with Path of Exile, it's like, does Diablo 2 have legs? Like, is Diablo 2 going to compete? Because with Path of Exile, like, can Diablo 4 compete? You know, like Path of Exile is always improving.
Path of Exile. So on your recommendation, in fact, on your begging me, essentially, I got it. I grinded. We're talking like 100 hours over, or 100 plus hours, like over a span of about a week. And I got to like level 80, I think above even. And I got to the end game, right? I beat the entire campaign, everything like that. Got to the end game, and then just kind of like was looking at putting builds together, and I was just like, oh man, it requires like so much of a time investment, like so much.
Yeah.
Like I can't play this as like a side game, right? And that's what that's what I've been looking for. And so and this is not necessarily to crap on Path of Exile, but you know, it is really intense. Once you get to the end game, it's like you need to find the exact right little tiny stats for your wand, and you need these resources, and it's like farming for resources is not fun. You want to, like, Diablo 3 hit that good thing where you'd see the like glowing legendary, you were like, oh, that little dopamine hit. Path of Exile does not have the same way. It's more about like the stat focus, like looking over your stats and getting that 1% more raise in damage.
That's fair.
And there are people that love it, and it's kind of like the same vibe as the Division 2 for that type of thing.
Sure.
But
the number crunchers,
it might be almost like beneficial. It's like for all those people looking for like a side game who aren't necessarily wanting to invest hundreds of hours to craft a perfect build. Maybe the little bit of a less intense version of Diablo 2 would be good for them. Because I noped out of Path of Exile because I was like, I can't invest.
I can't deal with that right now.
I can't keep it. Yeah, like I can't invest in this game. I'll get nowhere, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's right. I think that Blizzard also is kind of in a position where I think they need to deliver on something, because they, quite frankly, they need a bit of a distraction from all the hot water they've been in, because they've been under fire a lot. In the past year for
Diablo Mobile. Do you guys not have phones?
Well, not only that, but moral and ethical things that they've, all that stuff, right? So I think
Yeah.
they need to. They're in need of something that's going to lift their image a little bit, and I don't know. I think they need a good game right now. So hopefully it delivers. Or I really am just holding out for the next new Diablo experience though, because
Yeah,
I'm
they
pretty
showed
excited. I loved 3.
off some of that, and they got a new class and everything, the rogue or whatever. Honestly,
Yeah, exactly.
okay, I want to jump onto that a little bit while we're on it. They showed off the rogue, and to me, I saw a lot of Path of Exile type stuff, like the rain of arrows, and like I found in the older Diablos, like a lot of the attacks are kind of basic, and like even like in Diablo 3, I find a lot of the attacks are really basic. Like I shoot out 3 fireballs and they go like this. You know, like they go out like this and that's it. And like maybe they explode and maybe I can leap and it does some area of effect. But I found in that little trailer, you know, jumping through the air, shooting down arrows, or like sending up the arrows and they come back. Like I saw more dynamic attacks from what I could see.
Yeah.
They were a lot more.
It's not a guy going like,
yeah, it seems like a lot more animated and epic. And it almost looks like they've got, I don't know for sure, almost like ultimate abilities of some sort. Because you'd see a couple, and then they do one like FU move, like a big move, rain of arrows, murdering everything. And I was like, okay, something's here. I'm wondering if there's some sort of super system or like ultimate system built in instead of just, you know, your basic ability and secondary ability. It seemed like they had.
People
some
love
cool
that
stuff.
super system, dude. Destiny
Yeah.
really kind of finessed it, and then Call of Duty copied it, and everyone in the ground was copying that like ultimate system, dude. Valorant and it shouldn't say copy, but like people love it, dude.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. And I think it's I mean, you're calling attention to it, but I also think it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, wouldn't you expect like the attacks and stuff to be more dynamic, more flashy? I mean, I know I know we played the game, but Diablo 3 was 9 years ago. You know what I mean? Like,
So weird, man.
It's crazy
so
to think about like,
how long
you're
ago that
comparing the
was.
two apples to apples, but when 4 comes out, you're looking at over a decade.
Yeah, like
of time.
They better figure out some better fireballs.
It's
and
gonna
like
be different.
Yeah,
it should look pretty advanced in
honestly,
comparison.
Here's what I'm hoping, and I don't know if it's gonna happen, but almost like roguelike movement. So have you guys played Hades?
No.
I watched gameplay. I never played it though.
I'm wondering, would they make it so like maybe the enemies are a little bit more aggressive, but you can dash through like iframes? I wonder if they'll go that route. I don't know if they will. It's always been kind of like a point clicky type game. Yeah. But I wonder if that could be the next thing. Is like they'd make the bigger and better attacks, but also they start adding some movement stuff in where you're WASDing and trying to like dash through enemies and dodge those big hits. And I think that could be a really dynamic change that would go a long way too, because I don't know, clicking and holding down buttons and then just nuking everything might get a little old at this time. Like they almost need to bring up that difficulty a little bit. Path of Exile is a little bit like, hey, we're just gonna one shot you and that's the difficulty. I would love to see almost like like roguelikey or Souls like challenge.
A little more interactive movement.
Yeah, just like a little
not just like click something and you do the animation. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that's what I think about Path of Exile. Again, good game, free to play if you're really looking to invest in it. But when playing it, it's like I never knew how I died. I would never be able to pinpoint. I would just be doing fine on full health, and then suddenly I would just instantly die. And I was like, I guess something happened in there. I didn't notice. So that's definitely. But I think it's time to move on to Destiny. But before we do, Destiny can be a little tiresome. So I think I need some energy to talk about this subject. Tash, what do you think, baby?
I think that Advanced GG, our sponsor, might be the perfect thing for you. But do you maybe have any news you want to share, Kackis? Like any little teasers?
If you 1 million subscribers, the only thing to come out of there wasn't more of my depression. Actually, there's one good thing to come out of there, and that is something's happening. If you go to my Twitter, at Rick Kackis, there's something going on. Myself, Advanced GG, we're teaming up, baby. And if you can guess and be specific as possible as to what is going on, you can even win some prizes there. So It's just a little tease, a little tease. I'm a tease. Wait, so I'm just a little tease, and then very soon something big's happening. It's gonna be awesome.
By the way, that is 200 to the company PayPal for your shout out to your own Twitter. I just want to mark that down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but no,
That's where the competition's being held.
I know. Advanced.gg, use code RGH for 10% off. Okay, right now. Thank you. Now, let's move on. Let's talk about D2. So there's a couple things. This week, a pretty cool exotic catalyst. Like, that's pretty sweet. But on the weekend, oh my god, it was relentless spree of negativity about trials. Do you guys want to take it off? You guys maybe know a little bit better than me.
Just quickly, this weekend, it was an interesting one because the reason, I think a big reason there was so much negativity is because people were actually in the damn playlist because the flawless reward was the Igneous Hammer hand cannon, which
only way to get it.
Which kills you in what, 0.92 seconds from 100 meters away. It
is statistically a monster best in class 120 when 120s are meta. So it's definitely gonna.
So
people want it.
It's like the spare rations for 150s when 150s.
Only way to get it. It will likely be a normal like 3-5-7 win reward, but this time it was only the flawless chest was giving it, and it was the adept version, which of course was even better. So everyone was in there, and Trials was, as Trials is, absolutely freaking toxic. Like it was on PC, cheaters, like nonstop cheaters and recovs. The average player, I maybe one or two teams of average players lucked their way through to flawless.
Maybe.
Like it was absolutely intense because it's like Trials has scared away everybody.
I can't imagine
the most hardcore.
If you aren't top 3%, you're not going flawless. Like it is that bad. Like top 5%, you got no chance.
Yeah, the only way I went flawless, and I did a number of times. I got a lot of rolls on it. The only way I could go flawless was to literally get two of my friends that are cracked at the game, and the three of us go in and we sweat. And it's the only way we can make it happen because we were matching 2 to 3 teams of recoveries per card. And there's telltale signs. If you don't know what a recovery is, it's basically there's a lot of these companies and people out there who will say, hey, you're not good enough to go flawless, but you want that loot, don't you? I am good enough to go flawless, and I got 2 other guys with me who are real freaking good too. Now you pay me $20, $30, whatever you charge for the recovery, and give me your login info. I'll log into your account. I'll get your account flawless. I'll get you the loot, and then I'll hand your account right back to you. And so we would match these teams because obviously the flawless is what everyone wants, and not a lot of people are statistically are going to make it. So tons of recoveries were booming, baby. Business was good for recoveries. So that's the thing. Like, in order to go flawless, I know that I have to outplay 2 to 3 teams per card that are at my level, if not better. Okay. Right. So I got to play out of my mind. I got to play out of my mind every card.
Yeah.
And I got to be on top of my game. And you only get 1 loss if you're running the Mercy card. After that, it's good luck, man. You got to play out of your mind. So that's why it was so sweaty. And the thing is, because of that, it's not that Trials played any different this weekend. It's that because everyone was in there and they wanted the flawless thing, they weren't just going for the 3-win thing, right? It just really brought a lot lot to how bad the game plays right now in PvP when winning matters. Well, it is triple behemoths with max intellect. It's triple revenants with max intellect.
If you're not running max intellect, like everyone runs max. It's the battle of the cheese, right? It's like no one uses guns anymore. I'm in there with my pulse rifle, actually getting a decent amount of kills with that thing. But as soon as they get their supers, right, it's like a different story.
Well, they're doing that.
I can win a 1v1 with a pretty decent amount of time. Like I have decent gun skill. But then, as soon as that revenant is, and then and then they're all, you start chaining, and oh my goodness, not to mention
shurikens that bounce and track. It's dodge rolls, the AOE.
Although Stasis is enemy number 1, though, the Chaos Reach
I know.
Warlocks
That's what I was saying.
were having a field day. Oh my god.
They're using the Geomags, so they're getting
Yup.
closer super. They hide behind a wall and they sprint
Run
around in
around.
circles, get their
Yeah.
super, they pop and go, and then they turn it off again, and then they just
Yeah.
run around and get it. Like, are
Oh,
you
I was
kidding
doing it,
me?
baby. I
Oh
was doing it,
my
baby.
God.
If you're a
So
Revenant, I felt a little bit bad against some other players, but if you're a Revenant Hunter, I will shove my Chaos Reach right up your freaking, you know what I'm saying? I don't give a crap, dude. Revenant Hunters, I will use the cheesiest stuff and not feel, I don't feel any mercy, okay?
Yeah.
Because, but that's the thing. You have, like, God forbid you're in there with anything other than the absolute cheesiest cheese of the cheese, right?
Yeah.
If you're using any pulse rifle that wasn't the Messenger, maybe the Cold Denial, if you had an absolute God roll before, if you were not using a 120, I'm not even exaggerating. I don't think I saw I think I saw one guy using the Ace of Spades, and every other time it was a hand cannon, it was a 120. And like, we're talking about 95% usage rates in terms of hand cannons being like 120s. So Bungie is obsessed with data. How are they not seeing these numbers and being like, Jesus, like this is
And
crazy.
the Balancer's Lie had
Oh
the
my
most had the most kills of any other gun in the
Yeah,
game in Trials
because-
by
yep.
like 3 million kills. It was not close. It wasn't close.
How could you use anything else? Like,
And here's the thing: when it all boils down to it, this is what really just pisses me off about Destiny right now: is that Destiny no longer respects my gun skill. It does not. The game no longer respects my gun skill or anyone else's gun skill for that matter. That is secondary and in some cases tertiary at this point. And that is the thing that really drew me to Bungie games to begin with, was the gunplay. It's so good. It feels so good. They've got that down great. But
still does though.
It still does.
I
It's
think
just getting
120s
completely
maybe
overshadowed.
Need to keep the range, maybe change them to like, 115s. I don't know, just dial it back a tiny bit, because 120s, like the fact that they can, 120s negate, like, why would I use even a scout rifle? Because the problem isn't that, like, scout rifles have more people don't understand this. Scout rifles have more range, and pulse rifles often too have more range in engagements than one. I can kill someone with a scout rifle, high impact scout, with maybe a little bit further away than a 120, right? But it doesn't matter if there are no engagement lengths in the entire game on every map where that can actually shine. There's like 2 maps where like scout rifle range actually matters. Like,
And it's one lane if you want to hold it the whole time.
And that's it. If they come from a different angle, good luck.
Every single map, it feels like, is designed around hand cannon fights, which is like fine, but it's like, the problem is that, like, also people have figured out the exact routes to go because we haven't had a new map in 2 years, TV. So it's like everyone knows every route to go, no matter when you're using your hand cannon. It just feels like, to me, and you can't hate on people for using the best stuff in Trials. Obviously, use what you got to use, gamer, because everyone else is going to. But to me, it's an unbelievable lack of diversity. And Bungie they just make all these decisions based on these stats. How are they seeing these stats and they're okay with them?
I think they do it on purpose, though. They like rotate the meta. Like, they made auto rifles cracked a couple seasons ago. Like, they did it on purpose.
If they're gonna make 120s as good as they are, they did not need to nerf. Like, honestly, a juiced up hard light in this meta, most people would still be using their igneous hammers. Like, at least that could fight against an igneous hammer user if they missed.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know. It's just like,
I don't know how they make
them
those
rotating
decisions.
the meta, but to me, it's just like, it really brought out, like you said, it brought out the worst of the game. A lot. Like, I'm complaining a little bit about 120s, but to be honest, when I died to a 120, it wasn't even that bad. It's when I would get sucked and slowed and then double shuriken, and it's just like,
I don't mind if they want to rotate weapon metas. Season after season, something else is on top. As long as it's a weapon centric meta, I'm fine with that. I'll adjust as I need to. It's when we're in a season like this season where it's ability spam out the wazoo, and there's no end in sight. And there's no end in sight because A, they won't acknowledge the brokenness of stasis, and B, it's a permanent addition to the game.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances they're going to be like, are bad and take stasis back out of the game? Like, that ain't happening. They've got too much investment cost and time and energy and effort in development to ship that product. They're not going to, and people paid for it. They're not going to take it out of the game.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, where do we go from here, guys?
Right.
Where do we go from here?
Dust fields shouldn't suck. And everything that freezes you should only freeze as long as however long it takes, like the Warlock melee. You know, the Warlock only lasts like 1.3 seconds freeze. That should be everything. Literally everything in the game should be that.
I think the slowing effect needs to be shorter too.
Yeah. Yes, that as
if I get tagged by a shuriken, I should not have 5 seconds of
1.3 seconds of being completely frozen is still a long time, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's and so like I would almost be, if they over nerfed and then started to build back, I would almost be happy with that. Like, it is so insane. And again, it's to the point where if anyone watching dares argue you are you're not looking out for the health of the game. You're in it for your KD and you're letting the game die because the numbers are lower than they've ever been. Like, we're in the throes of a brand new season and there's less interest right now in the game than there was before Beyond Light in the middle of the summer. More people were playing and enjoying the game in the middle of the summer than right now a new season is popping off, right? So if you defend stasis, you are actively killing the game, dude, just to get a couple more kills.
A lot of people will say, hey guys, but correlation is not causation. They always love to say correlation isn't causation. Just because the game is dying doesn't mean that stasis
you're clueless, dude.
But here's the thing: it's not just that simple that stasis came into the game and the numbers are going down. That's not the correlation causation we're talking about here. We actually have statistical data. We have data that says stasis is overwhelmingly dominant in PvP. You know, when new if you compare to when new subclasses came to the game, with Taken King, you compare to when Forsaken dropped and we got the new supers. Even like people love to say, oh, it's just because it's the new stuff. It ain't because it's new. It's because it's real freaking strong. The numbers taper off quickly. They actually taper off if you go back and you look at the stats for when those DLC shipped. The popularity of the new things taper off pretty quickly as people go back to finding new, to what they're comfortable on, or maybe they get a new exotic that couples well with Gunslinger. Even though a new subclass came out, they want to play with the new exotic on Gunslinger. You know what I mean?
Right.
So those numbers taper off pretty quickly as people go back to what they tend to gravitate towards, and that's pretty standard across any game. But that's not the case with stasis. It is so overwhelmingly. I have so many games these days where it is. I have sometimes where I'm the only person out of 12 people that is not running stasis in a lobby. The only person. That's not uncommon.
Right.
Yep.
And the thing is like, it seems like it's almost coming to a boiling point. Like, I know you made your post the other day where you were like pretty salty, but even there was that drama with the guy like teabagging DMG. He matched up against him and he was like teabagging him and like, telling him to go screw himself, yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. But like the replies to that,
get his game basically, and which is like, all right, dude, grow up. Apparently, he was just 15,
right?
Which
is a kid,
and he does exactly what a 15-year-old wannabe streamer would do, which is do something toxic. Right. And I'm not even saying necessarily to super hate on the guy. I'm just saying like, it's understandable where if you're grinding trials all day, you're probably not going to be in a freaking good mood. You're probably going to be in a very toxic mood. At the same time, obviously don't do that. But it's like, it just kind of, and then everyone was like fighting over that. Like, you shouldn't have done that. I don't care. This game
people cared way too much about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they cared way too much.
And it's like it's bringing out the worst in everybody because no one's having fun playing the game, dude. A video game's supposed to be fun. It's not fun right now, like at all, to grind trials.
But the amount of people that were replying to that and like juicing the kid up and being like, yeah, like screw DMG. And like, it's like, there's so many people that are like vocally angry and like vocally very against him and like fix your game, dead game. And then, he tweeted out that he blocked dead game. And then it's like, oh, community manager can't even take, like, people are just so addicted to Destiny and want it to be better. People are so like tilted right now that it
unfortunately though,
it's a negative time, man. Like super negative.
Yeah, you're right. And again, it's like you got to stop. Like, this poor community manager, I'm sure he's relaying your feedback, right? He's the guy that's supposed to be fighting for us, the community, right? And DMG is probably out there arguing with devs, saying, "Hey, community doesn't like this," right? So it's not necessarily his fault. But unfortunately, what's happened is that partially, and this is partially Bungie's fault, that they've created an us versus them environment. there used to be a lot more transparency. And when, back in the day when the game wasn't doing that great, right?
Mhm.
There was a lot more transparency. We had like here's what the year looks like in terms of additions for Destiny. And they've really dialed it back. And it's like, Bungie, if you're not even going to acknowledge stasis, and people are, and just a few weeks ago, remember Cosmo acknowledged 3-peaking for like the first time, and they said, we're looking into it. It's more complicated than you think, right? But it's like, why did it take years for that acknowledgement? Bungie, you're doing yourselves no favors. You have to at least acknowledge these issues, because it creates like an us versus them, community versus developers, and it just creates so much toxicity, right? We're all on the same side, realistically. Like, the developers and the community both want the game to succeed and thrive.
Right.
Sometimes we just have different ideas of how that works, right? So, it's just like, this could just be better and all around, dude.
Devil's advocate, Genshin God, Mtashed here.
Yeah.
But like, when do you stop having faith though in Bungie? Like, when do you say, all right, it's been 7 years?
The well will run dry. It absolutely will. Everyone's got their breaking
how
point.
hasn't it? How hasn't it run dry? There's so much time that it's not fun, man. There's so much time that it is not fun, and I'm shocked that people have fun. The leveling system is awful. The leveling system is awful. Half the time, the looting system has been awful. Half the time, there hasn't been stuff to do. Half the time, balance has been out the window. Like, there's moments and there's glimpses, but it's like, this is the most dedicated player base I've ever seen. If it was any other game, Anthem, dead game. Division, dead game. Diablo 3, dead game. It's like, no one will give up on Destiny. And then, it's fine. People love Destiny. I get it. When the raids come out and when the best moments happen, they're some of the best in gaming, right? And maybe that's it. Maybe that is it. And it's the communities they've built. But you'd think that, like, at some point, people have to snap and just be like, all right, I'm done. I'm out. But it doesn't seem to happen.
A lot have.
Yeah, unfortunately, the numbers do continue to go down, but I think they've lasted as long as they have because the highs that Destiny delivers are real high.
Outweigh the lows, yeah.
And they keep us coming back because those highs are so good. Like, for me, I mean, everyone's highs are different too. Like, it might be trying out a new strat or a build in a PvE and game encounter and making it work and being able to make content on it. That gets a really good reaction to you. For me, it's like really big moments in PvP. Like, I had a 40 kill streak today. In PvP, just solo queuing in Clash. And at the end of it, I was like, "Oh, baby, let's go!" I felt so good. It was such a big high. I got a 7th column a couple weeks ago. And hitting that in that whole day, I'm just like, I'm in a good mood, baby. I hit a 7th column today. Like, the highs that it delivers are so good that it sometimes it overshadows those bad experiences. And even through the bad, you still have that hope that somewhere down the line is another one of those highs. And you're enduring the stasis, and you're going through the frozen tundra just to find that high again. And so you'll get one.
So you're saying, like, the exact same pattern that an addict has. So what you're describing is essentially every addict.
But to be honest, there's Destiny. Here's the real thing is that Destiny has been better. I think Destiny has been good more than it's been bad. Like, D2 launch, bad. Right? Osiris, bad. But with Warmind, good. Freaking going on Mars, getting 90 your buds in Mars, and just absolutely yeeting escalation protocol.
Dude, that was so fun, dude.
Amazing. Sleep right into Sleeper Mission, right into Forsaken. That was the next thing we got. Banger, absolute banger. And then we have the Black Armory, bang, the weapons there, banger, right into Gambit sucks. Then Season of Opulence, banger, Menagerie, incredible, right into Shadow Keep, which was all right, and then Season of Dawn. I actually really like Season of Dawn.
Good season.
What was after Season of Dawn? Season of the Worthy? No, was it? Yeah, Season of the Worthy, because it just rotated. So then that's the Return of Trials. That didn't really work out, but people love that Warmind theme and the Warmind. And then you got to remember, Warmind cells were introduced. Banger, right? Right after that, we have Season of Arrivals. Banger. Season of Arrivals was like amazing. Evan was that's why there's so much hope going into Beyond Light. And then Beyond Light just really kind of didn't deliver properly, and it's been bad since then. So we've had a lot of highs. Like it's not like it's been bad for so long. It's been good for so long, and they just really missed the mark with stasis balancing. And it's like if they just made a few changes, if they just nerfed the crap out of stasis and PvP alone, man, it would just get better just from that. It's just someone at Bungie has got to have the balls to pull the trigger and hurt some developers' feelings that were really into stasis, right? And they just say, we messed up, we're going to over nerf, and we can course correct going forward.
Right.
That's the solution.
I don't know, man. For me, stasis is just by design, like at its core fundamental structure, not a good fit for Destiny PvP, period. Nerf it. I nuke it. I don't know. Like
it's so cool.
I feel like
though it's so cool.
No. I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm just saying for the PvP side of things, I would honestly be okay. And I know this is never gonna happen. I would be so fine with them saying this doesn't work for PvP. Let's write it into the lore. Zavala is already against it. Saladin is already against it. We can write this into the lore and just say, listen, we're not gonna allow wielding the darkness against other guardians. It's just that's crossing a line. You know, we're being lenient and letting you leverage it to fight the darkness,
right?
Then fight fire with fire. We understand that, and we're being lenient there, but we got to draw the line somewhere. We're not bringing it home. It doesn't happen here. We don't wield it against our fellow guardians. I would be okay with. It's never going to happen,
or at least temporarily until they can get it balanced.
Even temporarily, and just say we're just going to black it out. We're going to lock it. You can't access that in PvP until we find a good way to restructure it in PvP. But we're going to leave it alone in PvE. We don't want to nuke it in PvE. We don't. It's already not the greatest thing in the world in terms of reliability and endgame PvE encounters. We don't want to nerf it there.
You know, the thing is like as you're saying that, like that would be amazing. But for me, I don't think that will ever happen. And for me, with how much I dislike the leveling system, all these things, knowing that the stasis will probably never going away, that was for me like the last straw. It was like the last thing where I'm like, do you know what? I think I'm done. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to come back to Destiny. I might play a raid here and there because it's cool, but I feel like for me, I've hit that point where I enjoyed Destiny. It changed my life. But I don't know if I can ever really enjoy it the way I used to because PvP is essentially ruined for me. And, I wonder what other people are at that level. And I mean, yeah, if it's going to keep happening.
Someone in chat's like, oh, you guys are really complaining. It's not that bad. It's like, look at the numbers, dude. Like this game is really suffering. We've never had a fall off this fast. After it's like those people
just because you
it's
like
the
it.
Fire. It's like in the meme where it's like this is fine. It's like, dude,
yeah,
it's not fine for so many other people, and the player numbers are not doing well, right? Like, so
right.
You denying that's that bad is doing nothing but hurting the game because it leads to inaction, right?
Mm-hmm. And you got Casey and chat is like they're top tier players, but they can't handle
crowd control.
And this is the thing. Listen.
Field's pull you in, you moron. There's nothing you can do.
Here's the thing, Casey. I guarantee it has nothing to do with us not being able to handle it. Okay, that's a very, very nearsighted and frankly just dim-witted comment to make. It has nothing to do with not being able to handle it. It has everything to do with not finding it enjoyable. Okay, there is a difference there. Okay,
right.
I guarantee you, if you and me stepped in the ring right now and we both had stasis equipped, you would be lucky to get a handful of kills in that total encounter, in that total match. I guarantee it. Has nothing to do with people not being able to handle it. It has everything to do with people not finding it enjoyable, and that's why they're leaving. Okay. You got to think beyond just yourself and what's right in front of you and what you enjoy and what you think is okay. Look at data points, listen to feedback, get on the forums. It goes way deeper than your own personal feelings. Okay,
yeah,
you got to be open-minded about
Here's
that.
the thing.
People, I want to really quickly,
okay,
very, very quickly. It's just like people, I think you also have to understand if you're playing with your friend group and having fun, like there's nothing wrong with that. But we're all three pretty big ambassadors of the community and we get a crap ton of feedback. We like our comment section. When it comes to stasis on Twitter, our interactions, we're seeing large portions of the community. And even though you're having fun, we are seeing all the people that aren't having fun. You're not. You're talking to your two friends. That's your view into the community. So we have a much better we get to see what's happening. And so it's a lot easier to kind of like tell like, oh, the community is not reacting good to this.
Okay, and then
I'm not trying to hate. I'm just saying like
two things I want to touch on there too is like I understand that like honestly it's up in the air always if there is skill-based matchmaking, but there's also two other things. There's very different versions of Destiny depending how good you are. If you are on the upper end when skill-based matchmaking is popping, those game lobbies they're not played the same as like the lower skill. I'm not trying to talk trash, but the way people can even use weapons is different. So like if you're running around and you're like, it's not that bad, there's a very good chance that you don't have super good people abusing it, because the better you get, the more you can abuse it. Like me, when Recluse was broken using Recluse, I can ruin your lobby. Like I can literally ruin your entire lobby to the point where you will not have fun. But the same thing happens with Stasis. I can abuse those abilities to the point where it's not fun to play for me even, because it feels cheap. And that's the thing is a lot of players don't like Stasis because they don't like dying to it, but a lot of people don't like Stasis because it isn't fun to use because it feels cheap. It feels cheesy. It's so strong. Now they've nerfed some stuff here and there, but it's this tough thing. It's not about, hey, I can't get any kills anymore because Stasis is here. It just is not the same game as before. And kind of Ryan, circling back, we talked about it earlier. It feels like a shift from a game where you shoot and you've got some abilities to throw in. People sprint at you, throw a grenade at your feet, throw two abilities, dodge away, and then they're like, all right, I didn't kill him.
Spam shurikens.
Maybe I'll shoot my gun now. It's such a different vibe that it just isn't. It's just not the same anymore. But we'll see where it goes. You can see that kind of animosity building in the community, but this last Trials weekend was kind of really spicy.
It just elevated everything. It's like the argument we're having right here is the good and the bad, right? There's people who are like, I enjoy it, I'm having fun. We're kind of hating on it a bit, and it's like that. It's the ice and fire. It's the same thing as Trials. Good parts of Trials. Finally, adept loot. The hand cannon's fantastic. We've been talking about having actual good loot that motivates you to play forever. They have it. This is good. But it's like, to get that loot, you have to endure the worst of the game. Like, that's the crux of this entire conversation we're having. It's like Destiny is doing some things really well and some things the worst it's ever been. And it's just and these two things are just like at ends, and it's just a weird state of the game. Because the actual Igneous Hammer, cracked weapon, deserving of being flawless loot. The idea of adept weapons, very cool. The adept mods, we got like some new ones, like the adept Icarus, crazy. Like, this is good, but the actual gameplay in Trials sucks, man. It's just like such a weird state of the game.
You got to have both. It can't be all carrot, and it can't be all stick. You got to have a balance in there where the loot is good, but the experience is also fun. So playing your game has to be a reward in and of itself. And it is for some people who enjoy Stasis, and I want to make that very clear. We all feel very strongly that if you love Stasis, you're allowed to love Stasis. There's nothing wrong with that. You are allowed to enjoy what you enjoy. Okay, no one's telling you can't have fun with what you like to use. No one's saying that. But the overwhelming majority of players are really not enjoying that experience, and the numbers show that. So it's got to be both. The loot is there this season. The loot is banging this season. I love. There's so many things I'm chasing right now. There's so many roles I haven't even gotten to try yet because I'm busy like trying to use my Time Worn Spire, but I got 2 God rolls on the SMG from Iron Banner 2 that I can't wait to try out. But on top of that, today I just got another Snapshot Frozen Orbit to drop too. I got to try that out. There's so many things. The loot is banging this season. I love that. But the experience has to be fun too. We should probably move on.
Yeah.
Did you know?
Let's go.
That game, Valheim? Did you know that Valheim, which has been popping off lately, like they sold over 1 million copies already, didn't they?
Yeah, over 1 million copies in like a very short time frame.
Over 1 million copies. I think it launched like a few weeks ago. That was very recent.
Crazy.
That was developed by 5 people. That's it. Can you imagine you and 4 buds make something, and then you sell that many copies?
Yeah.
What would you do if that many people were enjoying your game and you had a ton of money? What would you do?
Make it better. And that's what they're doing.
Make it better.
And that's what
they're
doing.
Expanding. They're like, crap, we gotta hire people. Holy cow! And so that's where they're at right now. Valheim they're expanding their team, and they had an interview lately where they talked about, they're like, we had no idea. Like, we thought the game was going to do okay. Well, we thought, hey, it's a good market for gaming right now. A lot of people are working from home. A lot of people are not going out as much. It's a good market for gaming.
We think 4 million copies sold. So
already
even better.
And they're
4
like,
million?
That's 80 mil.
$80 million.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Woo!
That's crazy. Obviously, they don't get all that. But...
buy a Ferrari, put Valheim on the side, yeet around town, you're good to go, baby.
I think it's just so cool, man. There's so many of these games in the past year that have been developed by small teams that just blow up. You know what I mean?
We talked about a little bit earlier. Super smart to put the price tag at $20, though. And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes of No Man's Sky. They charged full price.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky wanted $60, and so people compared it to a AAA game. But if Valheim is $20, it seems like a steal.
It's
right?
like, this indie game is incredible, right? Like,
exactly.
And they can get away with those little mistakes. So they're like, well, they're just like, it's just a little indie game. Like, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be little bugs. They'll fix it later, right?
Exactly.
It's a whole different vibe, different community. But, I mean, honestly, I feel like they did make some really good content. From the streams I've watched, I haven't got to play it myself. But if they can add on it and just build and add more bosses and stuff, it's kind of like, you know what I always said is I like the building and everything of Minecraft, but I like the bossing and the combat and the crafting and stuff of Terraria. Like, I always wished Minecraft just had the Terraria and it'd be amazing. Valheim, I feel like, kind of did that. They've got bosses and crafting and more fighting, and they've got that combat
it's
down.
A really intense survival style game.
Right. And then you can build if you
survival.
want. So it's like that kind of nice little mixture, because I find Minecraft is like too boring. It's just like, okay, killing those same basic enemies, it just gets kind of boring. Like the Ender Dragon, wowee, one little boss, but you know, I don't know. By the time you get to Ender Dragon,
you're not really the main market though for
exactly, because I'm not building. I'm not like a building guy as much, right?
It's an interesting comparison to make, though, truthfully, because Minecraft is in a lot of ways very, very similar. Made by one guy back in the day. Made by one guy, and he was like, "How good of a game can I make with like no money?"
Putting blocks everywhere,
and it blew up. And now look where they're at now, you know?
Yeah.
You got Mojang Studios, and they're killing it. They've got animated series on Netflix. They got Lego sets that are they cannot sell those things fast enough. They jump off the shelves, and they're constantly coming out with new Lego sets and everything. To the point where if you didn't buy a set when it came out, 2 months later, it's gone. You can't get it on Amazon. You can't get it in the store. It's gone. Like, it's crazy. And then they get crazy marked up. Like, they are killing it right now, but it's the same thing. I know a lot of people have asked, okay, well, what's the longevity here? You know, you got Val. I saw this in some of the comments to the Twitter threads with the news about Valheim. They're like, well, I would hate for them to spend a lot of money to expand their team and just to find that there's not a lot of longevity with their game, and then it's going to die off, you know, in a few weeks or in a few months or a year later.
Well, the good news about that is that they're not beholden to EA, so no one's going to go shut them down. They can make that call for their damn selves.
There you go. But, you know, there's other developers who have started in the same position. It was a small team, blew up, and now look where they're at. And Minecraft is a great example of that.
But even if it's like people don't want to jump into Valheim, they drop Valheim 2. Everyone is jumping back in. Everyone. They're going to be like, we got a bigger team, better game. Boom. Let's do it. Like, there's so many ways you can do, or just like a DLC. You know, it's when you build a product like that and you are one of those small teams, you've started the goodwill. You've started the goodwill and the brand image, and people are going to trust you. And so when you make that next little game, you know, maybe they branch out into Valheim in space. People are like, all right, they did it one time. Let's see if they'll do it again. And, you know, I hope the best for them.
I guarantee their retirement funds are probably pretty well stocked right now. So if their next project flops, they're probably going to be okay.
Yeah,
those five guys are going to be okay.
If they sold 4 million copies, like that's the thing about these games, and especially like any sort of multiplayer game, it's not going to like necessarily slow down. Those 4 million people are going to tell 4 million more of their friends to come get the game and play Valheim if they're having fun.
Oh, and
Like,
Steam
word of
sales,
mouth?
right? They can do a Steam sale
Yeah.
for $15 and $10 down the road. Like, it's not going to just be dead in the water there. They're going to get sales down the road. I mean, how many times has Terraria been on sale? And that's like in the top 20 games ever sold, Terraria. But it takes probably 15 times of it going on sale for some people to finally be like, all right, I'm going to try Terraria. You know, like, I'll finally do it.
Word of mouth is the most powerful tool. Literally, and they've done the research, and literally nothing will motivate someone more to buy something than being told to do it by a friend or by a family member, right? It is like beyond what you could possibly imagine. Every ad, seeing the best movie trailer of all time, it all pales in comparison to your friend being like, yeah, I saw it was good, go see it. That just trumps everything. So that's why, we're so passionate about Destiny. Like, I just want to say, like, how many people right now are recommending that their friends start Destiny? If they're not having fun with Stasis, if they feel like it's been better in the past, none of that's happening. And so that's why it's so important that Bungie gets back on the right foot. And that's why we're so passionate about it, right? Like, if Destiny's not doing well, it'll just start to peter out because you don't get those recommendations from friends. Whereas if everyone's having fun in the game, they're way more likely to recommend it.
And maybe that's what's going to happen with Twitch as a platform, because they just keep messing up. During the Diablo reveal, we could have touched on this a little earlier, but during the Diablo reveal, they're like, now, our friends who have played at multiple BlizzCons before have amazing double platinum, triple platinum records. Metallica! They pull up Metallica. Hey, what's up with me, Metallica? I'm going to play you a song. He goes to hit that guitar, and then they cut out the music because they're going to get DMCA'd on their own platform. Twitch had to change the audio and turn off the official streams.
They played copyright-free music.
Yeah, they put on copyright-free music.
And it's kind of hilarious.
Like, are you kidding me? You can't even buy you can't coordinate. Like, all right, we're gonna turn off the DMCA real quickly for this. Like, are you joking me? Amazon, do you have any money?
You can't.
Do you have any money?
Yeah,
they can't talk to their record label and be like, hey, we're gonna stream this event,
right?
Yeah, or buy it for a fee.
But also, Blizzard spending all this money on getting Metallica to join in.
And they get disrespected.
And you can't even play the music? Metallica's probably like, what the hell? They go back and watch it, and it's like, what the hell? Never doing that again. It's just crazy.
Shows like this is just going to keep happening until they challenge the DMCA rules. Come from you guys watching? Remember LimeWire? Remember crap like that? Dude, like, that's DMCA. DMCA was written in response to like when internet and Napster debacle. That birthed DMCA. What we're at now, like, streaming wasn't even a thing back then, really. So what we're at now is a very different spot. And Amazon and Google, because they're also dealing with DMCA stuff, they just deal with it a lot better. But make no mistake, you're still not. People on YouTube aren't playing copyright music. They're gonna have to spend some actual resources. They got some massive legal departments. They've got those fingers in Washington and every other government agency probably in the world, and so it's like you're gonna have to use some resources to challenge these copyright laws, because I think a lot of these music companies would realize wait, we actually want streamers playing our music. That's going to hype, because you can only listen to music on the stream. What are you going to do? Like, replay? You could maybe disable the feature to like replay over copyright music or something like that. So people are going to be motivated. Oh, I heard it on someone's stream. That's a banger song. Let me get it on Apple Music. Let me get it on Spotify. It only motivates more sales. So I think that they're going to just have to finally nut up and use their legal resources to challenge the DMCA laws.
Yeah. Something has to change. Something has to give there, because it's just like so prohibitive. And like, honestly, I feel it ruins content too. There's so many times where, like, I understand maybe it's overused, but being able to throw in like some Sarah McLachlan, like, or, in the arms, and you can't even sing it now. If you sing it, you can get DMCA'd in some cases. Yeah. It's insane. But there's so many creative things you can do with music, that would make the scene funnier. That would make it more emotional, but you just can't do it. And I get it. Like
Metallica was one of the main people were putting in the comments. Metallica was one of the main people that like fought to get DMCA and to get copyright law. So it's kind of hilarious that they get screwed by this is what you've wrought. Like this is what you've done.
Yep.
Pretty funny.
But that's pretty much it. Those are the main topics today. We rambled a little bit about balance.
A little bit.
I took a month off, so I don't know anything about the game, so I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know why you're even speaking.
I know.
Those
you may as well walk away.
You played the game for 7 years. You were one of the top players for 7 years. That means nothing. You don't know what you're talking about. All of that. You have short-term memory. It's like you got in a car accident and then you started playing Genshin, right? Like,
it's not like he doesn't see the clips. Like he's on Twitter.
No,
and he still follows.
He hasn't even seen his complete media blackout. He hasn't watched any streams.
I live under a rock now. That's it.
Yeah. It's I always think that's so funny. It's like people like who can't beat a grandmaster are like telling Tash that he doesn't know what he's talking about or something. You know, it's like I've never been flawless, but this Mtashed guy hasn't played in a month, so he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. We got some new viewers today as well, or some new members. We got Tal Digi with a new membership. We got Lamb. Just for Bad Gamers, we got the Suck Romancer. Give me a call.
Oh gosh.
Casey Williams and Shiver. Thank you for all the new Real Gamer memberships. We appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. Make sure to
Suck Romancer?
like the stream.
Isn't that your wife's account, Tash?
I wish. Jesus Christ. More like the Hoover Dam that's so dry. And
Oh my god.
Wait, what?
Oh my god.
Oh, honey. Wait, no, we're doing the podcast.
Oh my goodness!
I don't even know what to say. Chat, don't go anywhere because we're not done.
Don't go anywhere. This is the best part of the stream.
We're not done, baby.
So since we've been in members only for 2 weeks straight now, maybe for the after show we should just let
we'll
the floodgates open.
Yeah.
All right. So what we do is we're not done the podcast. We're the after show. Normally we put it into members only mode. If you want to become a member, Tash is going to post some links. If you want to become a member, support us. We got emotes that should be arriving. We've been promising emotes.
I'll show you a preview of one of them. One of my favorite ones.
They should be here for next episode. And we're TV has a little preview of one of the most requested ones.
One of the most requested ones is Kackis interrupting. There it is. Actually.
Yeah. So that's well, you can finally spam Kackis interrupting when I. You know what? It's just because my opinions are better than yours, so I have to straighten you guys up. Tash doesn't even play the game. What does he know? Remember?
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know.
All right, but what we do now is you guys in the chat ask away whatever questions you want about gaming or otherwise, and we're going to spend a little bit of time answering them.
Yeah. Because now we have time to dedicate.
A lot of times, well, the problem is when we keep it in members only chat, they just sit there. They wait for us to get onto something on our own.
They encourage us. One guy's like, "What's your favorite movie?" And then we'll like talk, and then TV's like, "I didn't like whatever movie," and then they're like, "Why didn't you like that movie?" And then they just keep like pushing us off topic. I know they never ask a second question. They just keep pushing us off into like no man's land.
Ooh, I like that one. What is a game you love but you will never talk about or cover on your channel?
Well, I can answer that really quickly. Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition. I love the original Mass Effect trilogy so much. Mass Effect 3 multiplayer is goated. Like, people don't understand how freaking fun Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was. I'm going to be playing the crap out of that. I cannot see myself ever making content about it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what do I even make? The game's already been made like years ago.
I play Minecraft all the time with my son. We have a couple of different survival worlds, some creative worlds. Like I play it all the time, but I don't actively speak about it or make any content on it.
Me, I play so many different like little indie games. Like I really am a gamer. I play all sorts of stuff with story, and there's a lot of games that I just want to enjoy. Like Hollow Knight or In the Blind Forest. I play those games. I enjoy them, and I don't want to stream it. I don't want to be on the camera. I just want to zone in and kind of like drool a little bit while I just like and play for 8 hours. Honestly, it's how I recharge. I play more games to recharge playing the games that I have to play.
There's another question here. It's an interesting one. Do you guys see the new Mortal Kombat movie trailer?
I did.
I did. It looks so silly, dude, in a good way. It looks
Gotta
like.
be. Yeah.
Do you see
It's
it too,
over-
TV?
Yeah, I did. It's like so over the top, but it
Yeah.
absolutely has to be.
He's like,
Also-
get over here. I was like, oh, dude.
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel
tired
like,
of the watered down video
yeah,
game movie.
I feel like they're just going the direction of like Fast and Furious, where it's like, who cares? It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, but it's just fun. And we're just going for fun. We're not trying to put together. Like, that's the brilliance of Fast and Furious. Like, obviously, not good movies. If you're watching them, if you're watching Citizen Kane and then you want to go watch Fast and Furious, you're going to be like, what the hell's going on? This plot makes no sense. But they're just like, let's put as much cool stuff in one movie and explosions and cars and all this stuff.
Right.
And we'll just pop off, right? And I think I feel like that's what they're going for. It's just like a fun, crazy, violent movie, which is what Mortal Kombat is.
One of the other questions, if you could get a remaster game from your childhood, which would it be?
I
remaster
would have said Mass Effect 3 a
Right.
month ago before it got announced. Or Mass Effect, sorry, in general.
I would want like can I do a sequel
I know the answer, actually.
to a game? I wish they would do a sequel to Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. I wish they would make another one because I really love the Paper Mario games. But I thought that Super Mario RPG was like amazing, and I would love if they did it again. I would love that, like a new one.
For me, I'm gonna go with there's two that come to mind. Metal Gear, Twin Snakes. Like give me a fully updated, just completely beautifully polished version of that game. That and Power Stone 2 from the Dreamcast.
I've literally never heard of that game in my entire life.
It's
Well,
like
that's it.
Tetris. It's like Tetris, but hotter.
That's like the only reason you haven't heard of that is because you started gaming 10 years after you lost your virginity.
So last week.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I was gonna say, sorry, dude, I can't go back in time. Anyways, I just never heard of it. What is it? I wasn't trying to be malicious.
No,
I'm like, what game is that? He's
Don't
like,
tell me.
oh, we don't explain it to idiots like you. I'm like, whoa.
So it's a game for the Sega Dreamcast. It was a fighting game. It's kind of like Street Fighter, but it was like I don't know, maybe a more grown up version of Smash Brothers. I played Jack the Mummy. He was my main. He was really cool.
Yeah, that game looks like a potato.
Here's my answer since they're already doing
I like graphics wise, like it's just like quite dated. Like it would if they could like remaster it.
Here's my answer since they're already doing Mass Effect. The greatest multiplayer experience of all time, unquestionably, Modern Warfare 2. They redid the campaign, but they didn't remake multiplayer purposely because the multiplayer was such a banger that who the frick would buy Cold War when they could go back and play Modern Warfare 2? Take out
That
Danger
would be a
Close.
great game.
Listen, take out Danger Close, take out One Man Army, take out Commando. Perfect game. Literally perfect game. The bounce, every gun could kill every other gun. It was perfect. The map
That was F2
chef's kiss.
Was that was the first game that brought the F2000 in, right?
Yes, the F2000. That was the fast firing last one unlocked.
F2000.
Dude, like M4 cracked, Scar H cracked, UMP was stopping power, baby. Two shot kill.
14 too.
Oh my god, dude! Dual 1887 shotguns running around with those bad boys. God, the perfect game. All right,
There's like a million questions we missed, but the chat's
we're getting too passionate.
Yeah, we're getting too into it now.
Favorite games.
True. Someone had mentioned GoldenEye 007. Oh man, I loved GoldenEye 007. We played the crap out of that.
I'm surprised like that hasn't been remade yet. That seems like
right?
one of the biggest ones to do. Well, they are coming out with a new James Bond game. Remember?
That's
they teased it.
Yeah, from the people that made Hitman.
Bro, Battlefield 3.
Battlefield? What
Battlefield 3 was one of the things that someone said. That's not that old, relatively speaking, but I will say that Rush on Dam of Van Peak will forever, in my mind, be one of the pinnacle gaming experiences, period.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Battlefield 3, fantastic. Battlefield 4, also unbelievable.
It took a little time, but it got there.
I would argue like it surpassed Battlefield 3 in the end, but Battlefield 6 is coming strong. If you're a Battlefield fan, yeah, apparently it's all hands on deck. All of DICE, apparently, or like a lot of it, is working on Battlefield 6 for this year. Whereas last time, DICE was very split, right? They were working on Star Wars Battlefront 2. Well, part of them were working on Star Wars Battlefront 2. Part of them were doing Battlefield 5, and Battlefield 5 really suffered. But I think they realized like they can't do that again because Battlefield 6 was their like that's the main competitor to Call of Duty. And EA released it was EA released like no Call of Duty competitor this year. Right? There was no Battlefield game this year.
No.
So that I think they're really going hard.
I hope they do. I hope they crush it because I'll play the crap out of it if it's good.
I love Battlefield, dude. So I've like played so much Battlefield. I feel like almost bad because I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront 2. And if you put me in a tank, if you put a really good Battlefield player in a tank in one of those games where other people like don't understand how that works, you're just farming, dude. I'm ending with like hundreds of kills just with a tank.
Isn't that great? And it's like
you're
getting
just like
triple-digit kills in a game.
It's like you guys don't understand. Like Battlefield players, they know. They see a vehicle, they know what to do. They it's like in their DNA. But like some random guy being like, "Oh, gonna try out Star Wars Battlefront." Oh, dude,
I hate vehicles in games. A vehicle in a game ruins a game where I don't want to play it. Even Titanfall. Like I understand that like Titanfall, like you're in a Titan versus them. It's like an FPS. No, I don't know why. Anything to do with vehicles, it ruins the game for me because the second I die to them, my rage level just goes like this. It goes like that, and then like this, and like that. If I die to one more vehicle, I'm summoning my monitor. Like I just despise it. Like if someone kills me in a Banshee in Halo, I'm like,
you give me an RPG and some C4 on a class,
I know,
and we're
right
taking out those vehicles, baby.
Dude,
I'm eating that C4. I'm getting underneath them.
Battlefield. Oh,
dude,
man.
I will, dude. That's the thing. The true Battlefield players are not just good in a vehicle; they will crank vehicles, and they will like laser focus, go after the other tank guy because they understand.
I would rather play Sudoku than.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, don't hate on Sudoku. I used to collect clips of sniping pilots out of helicopters in Battlefield 3. I loved it. Dude. Loved it.
Dude, when you like RPG, you arc the RPG perfectly and hit like a jet or a helicopter, you're like, oh, we've peaked, baby. We've done it, baby.
That's great.
There was a one here. There's about 15 questions. Are you guys trying out Riders? Yep. We're waiting for a download code to play it because apparently we can play it early, but we just don't have the download link yet for the demo. We're allowed to play like an hour or two early apparently, but we just don't
get it.
We don't have it. We should have it. Like I'm surprised we haven't got the code, but we're gonna play it. And then another question about it, like, do you care about it being live server or live service?
Live service?
I don't think I care. Like
I don't think so.
I'm happy it's not, dude. Like I said, Destiny. I think one of the reasons that a lot of people are very negative about Destiny is like it is the only option right now for looter shooters. Like, what's the other option? Godfall, Borderlands 3, both dead. Like Borderlands 3 a little bit less dead, but like came out a long time ago. There's really not a lot of options. Like I think if you play Destiny in spurts, play it when it's good, play it when there's content, and then you have like a side game to go and play. That's what I really want. I don't want another live service game where I've got to spend 100 hours like getting the stupid battle pass again. I just want to play and get loot, right?
Right.
I'm almost happy it's not.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, and it also to me it shows that they have all their resources and energy is into making a good game. And they know if it fails, it's not like 2 weeks later we can ship a new gun out that's going to get people happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it is until we get DLC out. So I don't know. I feel like that gives me a little bit more confidence in the base product. For sure. Someone else asked a really interesting question too. They said if you were in a situation where you had to make YouTube content to keep food on the plate, but it wasn't gaming content, what kind of content would you make on YouTube?
It wouldn't be on YouTube. OnlyFans, baby. That's where the real money is. Let's go, dude.
What would you do, Ryan?
You know, I don't know. I might do. I feel like I really enjoy doing cocktail mixing and.
Yes, I could watch that. I would watch that.
That would be hot content. You're gonna get demonetized though because it's alcohol. No.
No, actually, one of my not one of my to this day, the most money I've ever made on a Facebook video is a cocktail recipe video.
Was it for
It's
me?
on it's
Was
on
it
my
mine?
gaming platform. It wasn't yours, although that one was a banger. That one
Good.
was a banger though.
Damn right. dude.
But I did a gamer's old fashioned cocktail recipe, and that video popped off on Facebook.
I think I would do I would probably do like how to build a channel and like the analytics and the I'd be just like super blunt. I think I will do it one day. I'm just gonna be like, you're not gonna make it. I'm telling you, you're not gonna make it. But if you want to try, here's
Can
some
tip
tips.
number 1 be a cameo from me? And I'll just say, if you have to constantly ask other creators what gear they use,
You already failed.
You already failed. Like, if you're too lazy to do your own research and find out what works with your setup,
Yeah,
like, you're not gonna have the
that's
commitment
tip number
to
one.
grind for years.
that's tip number one.
Tip number one, cameo from
If
me,
your
that's all I
first
say.
instinct was to click this video, you're already having trouble because you should just start creating. Like, you need to just have that drive, and you should have already done the research. You know, like the way I would argue it is like every time you're clicking on those videos and like you are getting more knowledge, like that is good. But like at some point, you have to have done the research. You're done, and it's time to move on. Like, if you're just getting started, I know everyone's starting at different times, but like, there's some people that are just like, what gear do you use, and when should I do this, and how do I edit? And they're getting all this research, but they're never applying it. They're never actually doing it. And
You gotta have a plan,
yeah,
and you gotta attack that plan. You gotta start checking things off on that checklist. Start moving down. Let's got this. Move on to the next one. When is that gonna happen? Okay, I could probably make that happen in 2 weeks. I got another paycheck. I'll save this. I'll stop doing that so I can afford it. Bang, check that thing off. What's next on the list? When can I make it happen? You got to be intentional about it. Absolutely.
and no matter who you are, your first video is gonna suck, and your second, and your third, and your fourth, and your
My
streams are gonna be awful. You are gonna be the worst
Yep.
streamer there has ever been. No one wants to watch you. But you gotta
Yep.
start. You still have to practice. You have to get your.
I had
Your
800
beak
viewers
wet.
on my first ever live stream.
Oh, shut up! Brag more.
Not backwards. How is my headset
But-
backwards?
But I did have to grind my butt off on
This
YouTube
is
to
an
get that
Astro
far.
A40. It can go either way, gamer. It's not backwards, okay? I wouldn't. Yeah, you probably have some sort of like Walmart one, but this way here at Astro, all right? Code Kackis. You get the
Oh, gosh.
quality.
You
It
gotta
can
pay
go
us.
either way.
You
can
gotta-
go
you
either
gotta
way.
advertise your own stuff. You got to pay us again.
Listen,
TV,
and he ain't got the A40s, baby. They're completely customizable, dude.
Or the wireless A50s. What?
And then either way, you get the little KackisHD tag that goes here, or the Mtashed tag. He's got tags too.
No one has bought my tags. No one cares.
I don't even know who bought my tags. I've
All
seen
right,
no one tweet
boys.
at me with them, so probably no one.
Someone asked how
I-
I got into cocktail mixing. The answer to that, real quick, is
Alcoholism.
Well, I've always found mixology interesting, but I really don't like a lot of like fruit mixed drinks. I like some, but my wife really has a very particular palate. So anytime we go out, she's like oftentimes disappointed by the drinks that bartenders make her. But since I know her really well, I was like, I bet I can make you drinks that you would like, because she's always like wanted to try certain types of drinks. Like maybe it's a Mai Tai, but it's too heavy on one particular ingredient, right? So I know her taste. So I'll take a lot of base recipes and start mix them up a little bit and change things up here and there because I know her palate. And
good,
so
yeah.
most of the drinks I make are not for me, for my wife.
I've been into cooking a lot lately. I've been watching Gordon Ramsay and all these different
What are
things.
you cooking?
Whatever. I'm learning
Noodles?
you know-
Buttery noodles?
No,
Cheesy
no,
buttery noodles?
because you've been beaking me about this so much that I'm like, you know what? But I'm learning like the proper way to sear a steak and like what temperature does it need to be to sear it properly. And then like if you sear it, you can then bake it and then you can cook the inside with having the nice like there's so many different ways to cook a steak.
Mhm.
And I'm
Cast iron
looking
skillet.
Yeah.
Sear it.
and then you oven it.
Bake it inside. Get some Boursin cheese. Put it on top. Melts over it. Mwah. But also you can like put a lot of butter in there. Basically like sear it in butter.
Oh, there's so many things,
It's
and
crack.
like even just like cooking eggs properly, and like when do you use oil versus like butter in the pan, or should you ever use butter in the pan? Like I'm learning all these things. I didn't
Spoiler
know.
alert. You should.
You cannot season beef after it's been seared. Like it just bounces off. It doesn't cook properly, and also like pepper has a burning point, and so if you don't sear the steak fast enough, and you kind of have it on a low heat, and you're leaving it on there trying to get it up there, you can actually burn the pepper, and it leaves like a bitter aftertaste. Like there's so many little things that I've learned, and I'm like, oh my god, gotta make sure I'm doing it properly. And so
That's right.
I don't know, it's been
That's
interesting, just like some breakfast stuff and like little quick things. And I'd love to take some classes once things open up again, just to get my hands
That's one of
on
the
it.
things I've really wanted to do with Steph. I've wanted to go and do some classes together. There's like a market downtown where we live, and they do all kinds of classes like that. They got gourmet kitchens, whatnot. You can come in as a couple and pay for courses on mixology, cooking, all kinds of cool stuff. I really want to.
Awesome. And then we can all get together and have some banger food and drink. And you have to take a shot every time I say banger, apparently.
Banger.
Dude, once I siphon all of the revenue we've earned from this podcast into my account, then I'll buy a big team house. You guys can all come over.
Okay.
We'll all live there. We're going to have a banger kitchen. Tash is cooking up whatever new stuff. He's searing the steaks.
I'll be the bartender.
You're making the drinks. I'm just there for entertainment, I guess. And it'll be a great time, baby.
And you'll be grinding out the content on your 2 million subscriber channel at that point to help pay for
how well Destiny's doing. It's gonna be like in 2 years, it'll be like 1.1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it'll be the Genshin God.
You'll be pawning off your gold button.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All right, boys, we're going to call it there for the episode. Thank you so much for watching. We do this every Wednesday night. We talk about a bunch of gaming, and then we rant for like 20 minutes about random stuff and talk about cooking and drinking, apparently. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the notification button if you haven't already. Make sure to kiss me on the become a member if you haven't already. Links are down in the comments here. Bop, bop, bop. Click that link if you want to become a member. I'm Mtashed.
I'm Vanguard.
Oh, good idea. Good. Got in there quickly.